Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning, everybody. We welcome you here. We've got a pretty short agenda, but we're going to have some public comment that might be very interesting. So we're going to start off with the minutes. Commissioner Ertel, have you had the opportunity to look at the...
Yes, I have. I've had the opportunity to review the minutes, and I would make a motion to approve the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County for our January 28th, 2020 meeting.
Second, there's been a motion and a second to approve the proceedings of the Montezuma County Board of Commissioners for January 28th, 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is we have our Planning Commission here, and we've got a couple of public meetings. So if we could come up.
Good morning, Jane and Don. We're good. How are you guys today? Good.
All right, the first one we have is a public hearing. So, Kim, when you're ready, could you read the notice?
Commissioner Supla?
Here.
Commissioner Ertel?
Present.
Commissioner Candelaria is absent. Administrator Powers?
Here.
Attorney Baxter?
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a subdivision amendment application and a proposed boundary line adjustment to the Fox Run Subdivision submitted by Ute View Farms, agent Charles Martin, on property located at 7255 Highway 160-491, Cortez, Colorado. Located north of Road G, west of Highway 160-491, situated in Section 4, Township 35 North, Range 16 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, February 4th at 9 a.m., Commissioners' Hearing Room, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Department, Room 270, County Administrative Building, Cortez, Colorado, or accessed online at http://montezumacounty.org, Web Departments Planning. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. This file can be inspected in the Planning Department during regular office hours. Dated this 10th day of January 2020, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020.
All right, well, thank you, Kim. Don, looks like we have a boundary line adjustment. Maybe you can fill the commissioners in.
Right.
Wanda,
are you representing Chuck today, Wanda?
Yes.
Okay.
When we put in the subdivision last year, the neighbors had shown interest in part of the property, and we had done the surveys with that adjustment already taken care of in the boundary, and they came to us and we're ready to do that. So we just need to move the line so that.
So you'd already established a line, and then it's something you want to move it and change it so that they
so
can
it's contiguous with their property. Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yep, that 5 acres will be divided off, and then the neighbors to the north will add that to their existing property.
We also have a letter of commitment from the neighbor saying that they will be taking that property. So that property is not a non-compliant piece.
All right, anything else?
That's basically it.
Bring it back to discussion. The commissioners, Commissioner Ertel, anything?
I don't have any, no questions on that.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up to the public. If anybody would like to comment on this decision, if you would come up to the podium, state your name and address, and let us know your feelings. Seeing none, we will close the public portion of the meeting, and we'll go back to the commissioners for a decision.
Seeing no other interest in this issue, I would like to move that the boundary line adjustment to the Fox Run Subdivision submitted by Ute View Farms, agent Chuck Martin on property located at 7255 Road Highway 16491 be approved.
Second, there's been a motion and a second to approve the proposed boundary line adjustment to the Fox Run Subdivision submitted by Ute Farm Ranch agent Charles Martin on property located at 7255 Highway 160, 491, Cortez, Colorado. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will close this public meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wish they were all that simple.
Will we have somebody representing the Hart?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to wait 5 minutes.
Correct.
Yeah, we better give them 5 minutes.
How about, could we go ahead and sign the Mylar?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Morning, how are you? Absolutely fantastic. Ooh, we've got a vertical one. A long strip here. I think she got it all right.
Morning, John.
Here, you can put this. Because we have to check in here.
We try. Get them off our hands.
I was working earlier. I just tapped station 1 and my mic is on, so we don't want them to hear.
Jared says so. Thank you.
That's all we're saying.
That's it.
Sorry, folks, we just got 3 minutes, but on public hearings, we have to do it on time, so. We like to roll, but we can't roll. By the law, we have to do it.
Commissioner, I could do a magic trick if you need.
Would
Okay,
you
would you
please,
just
would we
do a
have
magic
our entertainment chief, could you please give us a little?
Okay, today I'm going to do a mind reading trick. Okay, so I'll probably need a volunteer.
Oh, yeah, please. Gayla, could you volunteer for Shaq? Come on, Gayla, come on.
Okay, this is a mind reading trick and it's very powerful.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to link into your mind and tell you where you got your shoes. Okay, so look at your shoes and make sure you know where you got them.
Oh, this is good.
You got them on your feet.
This man is a wizard. He is a wizard, yes. Oh, brother. Thank you, Mr. Powers. Okay.
Well, I guess we got 2 minutes. I could give an update. The commissioners had a meeting yesterday at 5 o'clock with Empire Electric on a proposal to put in a fast charge for electric cars at our health department. The meeting went 2 hours. We did not make a decision. What's interesting about this is it's about a $300,000 grant that if we don't use it in 2 months, we would lose. One of the main sticking points is that over 5 years, at the worst case scenario, it would cost the county up to, what was it,
$167,000.
So we're at an impasse, so we have 60 days to try to figure out how to overcome the impasse to put the charging station in, and we'll lose the $300,000. It was a very complicated issue, both back and forth with Empire Electric and the Montezuma County Commissioners. And one of the Empire directors had a very good point. He says, I need to see data. I need to see data. And so we were thinking about if we could have Fort Lewis College, or if we could have maybe our high school come up. There is no data really out there to economic benefit of these fast chargers. We believe it's coming. Commissioner Ortell owns an electric car. And if you have a charging station in Montezuma County in the city of Cortez, then that would be a stopping point. So if you're coming from LA wherever you're coming from, you would have to come to Cortez to get that charge to get onto Grand Junction or Denver. So,
Yeah, their goal here is to build corridors for the electric vehicles so that it's not about your localized traffic where you have people that live in your community that charge either at home or at the level 2 charging stations at their home or wherever. It's for the traveling public that they know. I mean, we've got a list. We had a list in our presentation of the automobile manufacturers that are now all building electric cars, and General Motors just committed to a $2.5 billion refit of a manufacturing plant that they were going to mothball, that they're now going to spend $2.5 billion retrofitting it to build electric cars. So we know it's going to come, and it's going to take time, and not everybody and their dog has an electric car, but it's going to be the future of a lot of automobile and travel in this country. I mean, it's just when you can take a renewable energy source and generate electricity, just like you see Tri-State going. I think they said they're going to put in six solar voltaic farms to start rebuilding the infrastructure from the closure of their coal-fired plants. So it's a coming thing. We just don't know how we can afford to do it now without some large subsidies from the county or some other entity to help us subsidize that. But I think we're going to find a solution to it. I think we'll find an answer to it. And
What's the total cost for a fast charging station?
about $350,000 for these for these fast charge. About $350,000 to $360,000, somewhere in that ballpark.
The county has access now to a $300,000 grant.
$250,000. It's from the Volkswagen settlement. Each state in America was given a certain amount of money from the Volkswagen settlement to distribute out to start making electric charge stations available in their state.
so it's fast charge, meaning that if
It's quick charge, yeah,
quick charge,
and it's a whole nother level from your level 2 chargers. You can go in and get a full charge on your car in about 45 minutes, which that's a 60 to 75 kilowatts I mean, it takes some serious infrastructure to do it, which this grant provides that.
So Tesla actually has one. That was brought up. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
one in Moab, but
They've
you
got
have to
several.
own a Tesla to hook up to it. You can't own a Chevy Boat or one of the other models.
Yeah.
So,
What about the landing station?
The what,
well, we
Steve?
don't know. So we have lots of tier 2 and tier 3. Tier
Oh,
2
yeah.
is where it takes
They're
8
everywhere.
hours, and that was actually something brought up that we hope we're going to visit with our lodgers tax committee. Maybe the idea was that the hotels would have a couple of charging stations, and maybe we could use lodger tax money to
help them.
help the hotels put in the charging stations. But that's an 8-hour charge, and so you're gonna, if you have somebody that's planning on going to the Great Sand Dunes and over in Alamosa, they're gonna come to Cortez and they want to charge it in 45 minutes. They would eat lunch and then they want to be on their way. That's the niche that isn't being utilized right now.
Okay. We better start.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right, we got a public meeting. Kim, can you read the notice?
Commissioner Sukla,
Here.
Commissioner Tell,
Present.
Commissioner Candelaria is absent, Administrator Powers,
Here.
Attorney Baxter.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed single lot development and rezoning application submitted by GuntherHardt on property located at 31633 Road W, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 63.41 acres, more or less, located north of Road W, east of Road 31, situated in Section 35, Township 38 North, Range 15 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, February 4th at 9 a.m., Commissioners' Hearing Room, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Department, Room 270, County Administrative Building, Cortez, Colorado, or accessed online at http://montezumacounty.org, Web Departments Planning. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. This file can be inspected in the Planning Department during regular office hours. Dated this 10th day of January 2020, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Tuesday, January 21st, 2020.
All right, thank you, Kim. Don, go ahead.
I'll let Shaq bring up the map. So Mr. Hart is looking to create a single lot development on his property. There is an access road to his house that runs through this proposed property. There will be an easement dedicating that road right of way, and he also has allowed some additional acreage to the west of this lot in case that needs to be used in the future for access to his remaining property. Planning and zoning had a unanimous vote to approve this to be recommended for you guys. There you go, Shaq. And Mr. Hart's signed a waiver for a fire mitigation plan. That was a discussion of P&Z, and we'll have Wildfire adaptive. He'll have him come up later in the spring or summer and review. He's removed oak brush and stuff around the cabin that's existing there, and we'll just have that review done by Wildfire adaptive.
Okay. Anything else to add, Jane?
No, that's it.
All right. Mr. Hart, anything to add to it?
Nothing. It's
Okay.
just part of my ever-changing estate planning.
Okay, thank you.
We get younger, you know.
Commissioner Tell?
No, I have no questions of it, right?
All right, we'll open it up to public comment. If there's anybody that would like to come up about this proposal, come up to the microphone. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment part of the public hearing and go back to the commissioners for
Well, it's pretty cut and dried to me. So
myself as well.
you're good, okay. I would move that the single lot development and rezoning application submitted by GuntherHardt on property located at 31633 Road W, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 63.41 acres, be approved.
Second, there's been a motion and a second to approve the single lot development and rezoning application submitted by GuntherHardt on property located at 31633 Road W, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 63.41 acres, more or less located north of Road W, east of Road 31, up on Granite Mesa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day. Stay warm.
We will.
Don't let that battery run out of your electric coat.
How'd you know that?
Came out and showed me before you.
Thought maybe you were psychic.
Yeah, I followed Shaq's, I knew it was electric, mental mind, I read his mind.
All right, is there anything coming up on planning and zoning issues that
We've
commissioners should be aware of?
We've got 7 items for next week, but nothing controversial or anything. They're all pretty straightforward.
All right.
Good, 7 items?
Yes.
Yeah.
I tell you, you guys move stuff through that office. I'm proud of you guys. You guys get stuff in there and get it.
Well, working
through
at
it,
it.
doing it, right?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we have public comment. Before we get started on public comment, the commissioners put a Facebook post out hoping that we could have some of the candidates that are running for city council come up and give a bio, or just give us, where we could meet them so that if they are elected as the city council members, that we could have a working relationship and we could get started on the ground running. Before we do that, as Commissioner Tell, I have sat here now for 7 years, and one of the topics of discussion is that the county and the city has not got along very well. And so I would like to use some constructive criticism of what I've seen in the last 7 years and what I think that, and Commissioner Tell will as well, and maybe we'll have some of the other staff jump in, of what we can do to repair that relationship, because there's so many things that we need to work together on to make them happen, instead of talking about them, to make those things actually happen. The county in the city, this has been going on since day one as commissioners. We have these breakfast meetings. They're a quarterly breakfast meeting where the city council comes and we pick different locations. One would be in Cortez, one would be in Mancos, one would be in Dolores. That government entity pays for wherever it is. We go around and pay for it. But this is what the problem with the breakfast meetings have been in the last 7 years. We have no city councilmen show up to the breakfast meetings. Ever. The reason that I'm going to give you the constructive criticism of why I think that we have not had any city council members show up to the breakfast meetings. I believe that the current mayor and the previous city manager did not want the city council members to show up to those breakfast meetings. That being said, if one of you are elected as a city council member, we hope that we're telling you this story, that when we have these breakfast meetings, that if all possible, if you would show up so that we can talk about the issues and you have knowledge about what's going on. The airport. The airport is the next thing I'd like to talk about. The airport is a very critical economic driver in our county. The airport has a manager that is retiring in 1 year. The manager has basically stated in a meeting that he is going to coast along to retirement. That is not a good way to spend the last year. You should be working double time. What you need to know about the airport is it's a very unique function of the federal government. The airport, you get 95% of your funding is from the federal government and 5% is from the local government that runs the airport. An example would be if you wanted to do $1 million project at the Cortez airport, it would cost you $50,000 and the government will give you $950,000. If you wanted to do a $10 million expansion of the city airport, it would cost you $500,000. Any person with a business mind would think that's a good deal. One of the issues that was brought up in a meeting that we had here about the airport was that you have to have some airline or some entity come in and say that they want to start flight service to your airport before you're ever going to get that money. That is a false statement. The Alamosa County has, and the other statement that was made is it goes by how many people live in that county. Alamosa County has 16,000 people in it. Montezuma County has 26 to 28,000 people. In the last 10 years, Alamosa County has received $22 million to improve their airport. We need a city council that will, it's your baby. You're the ones that control that airport. The county wants to work with you. But we have got to get an advisory board, an airport advisory board. We don't know anything about airports. The city, I don't know how many of you know anything about airports, but there's people that live in this county that are retired aerospace engineers. They are retired airline pilots. They know how airports work, and you need an airport advisory board. We'll work with you. We need people that know how airports are, and let's start applying for this 95% funding. Let's improve our airport so that we can land 70 passenger jets. What's ironic about what happened with Alamosa, 2 weekends ago, the commissioners, they actually control the airport in Alamosa County. They were asked by a little company called SkyWest to drive to St. George, Arizona, to meet with SkyWest about flights starting to come into Alamosa, 70 passenger jets, because they have spent the $22 million to upgrade their airport. SkyWest only employs 20,000 people. So, city council members, think about the airport. It is very important to the future of this county. We're not going to get a railroad. We're not going to get a freeway in a long time. Staff and rubber stamping. This has happened to Commissioner Tell and I. We have staff in the beginning that would come and they would tell us something, and instead of just believing what our staff told us, we had to verify that what they were telling us was the truth. And in the beginning, we found a lot of things were not necessarily the way that they were presented to us. There has been 9 department heads that are no longer working for Montezuma County because of that. The city council is where the rubber hits the road. You're the boss and not the staff. Remember that. The lawyer is going to give you this information when you become city council members. The lawyer is going to tell you that if you go and you investigate an issue that is up before you as city council members, that you need to recuse yourself. Now that is one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard of. How can you make a wise and just decision if you gain knowledge about an issue and then you need to recuse yourself? You should not be left in the dark. You should go and investigate. We encourage our planning and zoning members to go out wherever the issue is and to investigate so that they can give us a wise decision. That's coming down the pipeline when you're elected as a city council member. The park down south of town and the path to Mesa Verde. They started off with $6 million. It's now $4.5 million. We suggested in a meeting, we have the path to Mesa Verde right now. We have got $4.5 million to take the path to Mesa Verde from Mancos to Mesa Verde. $4.5 million. I think the county has to come up with $50,000. Again, a good business mind. If you pay $50,000 and you get $4.5 million in return, that's a pretty good business decision. At the same time, we could be working and connecting the city of Cortez with the fairgrounds. We cannot get the city council, the current city council, to break $1 million off of this park and say, well, maybe instead of spending $4.5 million, maybe we should spend $3.5 million or $2.5 million and take that other $1 million and use it working with the county so that we can get another $4 million to bring out of CDOT flat funding is what it's called. And at the same time, would come together with the path to Mesa Verde. There's so many more issues, but then I would convolute it with we would love to talk to you, how we can repair this relationship and how we can move forward. Commissioner Ertel?
Yeah, I think Commissioner Sukla covered a very nice agenda of things that we would like to look at the city with. But I think to not go into more detail about that, I think it devolves down to that we want to begin to work with this new council and be a part of wherever it's appropriate for us to be a part of your decision making and some of the things you look at, and conversely where you should be involved in a part of our decision making and the things that we look at. And we want it to be an easy flow between the two councils, between the commissioners and the city council. We would like for it to be much more comfortable in reaching out to each other through our administrative staff or through person to person. I think Commissioner Sukla brought up a very valid point in our breakfast, where we've come together at a very casual morning meeting to discuss things going on within our community. We've not ever had any city council members show up to that. It's always been the mayor and the administrator, which that is. The mayor is a council member, don't get me wrong, but the rank and file are the people that need to be involved in this decision-making process, not just the mayor and the administrator. And they need to get to know us, and we need to get to know them, so we're comfortable in talking about things, comfortable with each other, and discussing issues, bringing things to light that may affect you and may affect us, and try and get some better outcomes with that. So I'll leave it at that. I think it's known that we want to have a much better relationship with the city council of Cortez and the city and the councils of both Dolores and Mancos. I mean, not just Cortez, but also those councils of Mancos and Dolores. So. And
we need to be able to come together. There's a lot of issues in the county that the city votes on. They voted on the master leasing plan. They voted on approving the Colorado water plan. They voted on that is an issue that is out in the county, and I am not opposed or offended if the city council votes in a different way on those issues that affect the county, as long as the county commissioners also can weigh on city council decisions. But the thing is about those decisions, before you go take a vote, if you have somebody from Colorado Conservation come down and talk you into voting for the Colorado Water Plan, why would you not reach out to the county that actually works on the Colorado Plan, that has two gentlemen, Ed Millard and Don Swint, that work for us on this Colorado Water Plan? We have a lot of knowledge and information about the Colorado Water Plan. We have a lot of information about the master leasing plan. And just gain the knowledge that we have on those issues, and then go back and take your vote and make your decision, instead of just going in there blind, and whatever the guy that flew down from Denver tells you, you vote on it. That's what we need. We need this working relationship where, ask us, what do you guys think? We're fixing to vote on this. What do you know about it?
And I'd like to give a good example. The town of Mancos is getting ready to start their drought management plan, and they reached out to us
Yes.
in an email asking the commissioners to be at their planning meeting to help them with that.
Yep, they sure did, and I appreciate that a great deal, because we plan to be there, yeah.
All right,
Good
enough
stuff.
being said. We're opening it up to public comment. If anybody would like to come up and comment, come up and state your name and address. We're all ears.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Elizabeth Berger. I live in the county, 11493 Road 29. The reason why I wanted to step up first is because I am not running, but you addressed my issues completely. And as a private citizen, I would like to, yes, please, reach out to our commissioners, new city council members. Reach out to them, gain from their knowledge, and thank you for stepping up at the land use code and bringing it to the city council and to all of our, to all of the people that were present at that time. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for reaching out. That being said, I would ask you to step up again when the discussions about the new land use code will start, and maybe accept the role as volunteer, maybe share what you have in your land use code, maybe assist the new council members with your valuable knowledge that you have received. Okay, here's my second part. It is my understanding, and my knowledge, my legal knowledge is not good enough for all of that. It is my understanding that the county owns and manages properties within city limits. Therefore, I think the county should have a voice and an input. And I would like to point out the order that has come in by Judge Plough for the city council to readdress an ordinance, what it means to reside within city limits. And currently, or specifically, Judge Plough pointed out, residing means owning or managing a business in town. And I think as this ordinance is coming up for approval at the next city meeting, I would ask you to look into that, because it may change. The other thing that in that appeal is addressed is the word neighborhood. And Judge Plough requires the city to readdress what is neighborhood. And I don't know if Mike Green addresses it at the city council meeting and everybody votes and it's done. That's a little late for me to gain knowledge about those things. So I thought I would bring you the first page of the judgment so that you have the case. Mike Green has the whole thing, and I printed page 24 and 25 out of Judge Plough's analysis for your first-hand information. And I will hand that over to you.
Okay, and then
Thank
what
you
we'll
very
do is,
much.
we will get that to our legal counsel, and we'll have him look it over and give us his opinion about this ordinance.
Yes,
Wow.
and at least maybe so that we can evaluate it.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you, if what you read there is factual and what Judge Blue is saying, that as far as what qualifies as residential or being a valid resident, as being a property owner or business owner, that will make a large difference to a lot of people in this community, because as of now, owning a business, owning a house for rental, owning any kind of property in the city, you've still been excluded from voting on any of the city's issues or the council members or anything unless you actually reside within the city. So if Judge Plew is making a statement about what qualifies for residential, and that possibly being a business owner or property owner or whatever, that's going to be huge. That could be huge.
Well, the order from Judge Plew was because of that marijuana business that was denied. So it
Sure,
was a
right.
very limited order.
Yeah.
But I think that the ordinance that may follow out of that order may be more generic and redefine how the city thinks about it. And so far, to the best of my knowledge, it was brought up at the last city council that Mike Green is still working on it.
Okay.
But it's up for voting at the upcoming meeting.
Okay.
We'll
thank-
try to be
Commissioners?
present.
Yeah, we will.
Do I need to
certainly
notice
keep-
that you'll be there?
What's
Sure.
that?
Okay. I asked if I need to public notice you attending that meeting.
What date, what is their next meeting? What is the date of their next meeting?
February 11th.
February
I
11th?
think so.
All right, anything else, Elizabeth?
Okay, the second point that I wanted to point out is regarding to the neighboring, and I don't know, it came to my attention with the land use code, that if the city reaches out for 1 mile, shouldn't the county be able to reach inside the city for that same 1 mile too? You know?
That's a very,
Oh, that's a
So-
very interesting thought.
I don't know anything about it. So what I found was an email, and I made a copy for you. And that email was comes from Aaron Johnson. And Aaron Johnson says, I have reviewed the emails forwarded from several citizens and the information provided by Charlene at the last meeting. The references on the extraterritorial area of the town and the reference to the state statutes are appropriate and legally correct. Cities in Colorado do have planning oversight in a 1 mile area around the boundaries of the town by state statute. Cities also have oversight regarding infrastructure and other matters in a 3 mile area by state statute. I just take it as true. These statutes have been in place throughout Colorado for many years, and they are the basis of good growth patterns and have supported good cooperation between cities and county governments. All the cities referenced in the email from the Republican woman correctly state the 1 mile and 3 mile oversight areas. Other than that it is specifically authorized by state statutes, the city does not have jurisdiction or control. That said, it is common practice for the county to seek the city's input on development applications. I think that the level of alarm about this matter is somewhat out of the proportion that is about the old land use, now the outdated land use code, and that the issue is misunderstood. I urge everyone who has questions to meet directly with town representatives. Okay, new council members, step up, go into it, work with the county, and get the things done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
You started this, you know.
Sorry. Can you, everybody hear that? Do I got to bow down? Okay. Good morning. My name is Justin Vasterling. I'm the GM of the Holiday Inn Express in town here. I oversee the awesome Retro Inn, has a lot of history, and the Destination Grill, formerly known as Coco's Friendly Pub and Grill. I'm a board member of Mesa Verde Country, which is our tourism organization that tries to get people to come visit our awesome county and town. Got some notes, sorry if it's a little formal. I'll do you one better than meeting you 4 times a year for breakfast. How about attending meetings? Like, these are super informative. I regret I haven't been involved sooner. I see Jim at the city council meetings. Besides we've got some candidates here, which is super awesome. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't be coming to these. It seems odd that they're separate meetings. I don't see where communication hurts anybody. So for sure, if elected, I'll go to breakfast with you guys, but I'd be probably more substantive and interested in attending all of the meetings. Oh, I don't think why I would ignore that. Let's see, how do we get you involved in all of the bidding at the city? You're saving everybody money, Commissioner Sukla. That's great. You're peeling some fat off of some of those bids. Like, I don't know why your opinion, both of you guys aren't asked for more involvement. I don't see where that's a negative. I just don't. And I have noticed, haven't really been very political other than having opinions. And I have noticed it is very strange. Do one of these to me if I go too long. I like to talk, you guys.
We usually allow 3 minutes, but our timer's gone today. So
Oh,
so we're kinda
sweet.
wide open.
Okay. I think we're at about 10 seconds, everybody.
This is really important to the community. Go ahead.
Okay. I see, I have noticed a divide. It's like, I don't know if it's an I don't know why, but I notice a divide between the county and the city. My personal belief is I don't see one in spirit. I know there's a boundary to the city, but how many city employees live in the county? Like half? Mm-hmm. Everybody at our properties lives in the county except for like 5 people. I don't see that. I love the wording that came from Plu about a vested interest versus where you sleep. I think that's a no-brainer. If you have a business here, why do you not have a say? I don't know the legality of things. I understand there are rules and laws, but I also understand there are ordinances that we can change and improve. And I don't see why we wouldn't want business owners that live in the county not to have a say. I don't see how that benefits anything. Also, linking the fairgrounds to the city, I think, is a great idea. And there are probably a bunch of other ideas. But I also wanted to make sure you had a bunch of questions you ran through. I don't know if I have the brain power to hold all that in my mind or address here, but is there a forum you guys can put these questions to us as candidates where we can respond in the public eye so that the people get to see what we all feel about these things, and that will be the birth of some accountability as we move forward when these issues get voted on, which I think is super awesome. And I think I'll leave it at that. I know I've gone over 3, but I'm looking forward to it, and I think this is a positive thing. And I like all of you guys. I also I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I like Karen. I like our mayor. I like our council. I disagree with some people, but I think we can get some stuff done, and I'm excited, and thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up.
I'm a little shorter than Justin. My name is Rafe O'Brien. I actually was born and raised here in Cortez, Colorado. I went to Manal Elementary School. I went to our old high school and our middle school here. Ran track, played basketball. I actually have a 6-year-old daughter who does gymnastics here in town. I went to culinary school initially. I graduated from Johnson & Wales with an associate's in culinary arts. So I know a lot of restaurant background and restaurant management. I don't necessarily do it now. I work for my father part-time at Southwest Heavy Equipment, and I work part-time at Napa. So I've been in a few different industries. I've also worked, I've done repossessions. I've actually worked in the marijuana industry. I was a store manager where I've handled money in the product. Again, I also managed many restaurants here in town. I actually worked with Mr. Justin whenever it was Coco's. I was one of the people who did the conference centers for a lot of people. So I've been in our community for quite a while. I've kind of sat back and just listened and watched, and I've actually spoke with you guys before about the water conservation and, just different ideas to get our community moved forward with possibilities of opening up lakes, opening up our land. Whenever I was younger, I was able to go to more places than I can go now. And I just feel like that's kind of awkward. 15-year-old me, I could go way up in the mountains, I could go on any lake I wanted. 30-year-old me has restrictions and can't go anywhere. I 100% believe you with the airport. I actually am not anything with the airport. I don't understand it at all. But I've always wondered why we didn't utilize that more, because I do have a cousin who is a pilot, and he has told me some of these things, and he has always asked me why our airport is not utilized in a different manner and in a more popular manner, I guess, because we are a tourist area. I don't see why it would be bad. I also live right here on 403 South Market, so I'm in the flight path. I see no problem with planes flying over my house, knowing that they're bringing people in, utilizing our airport, and having growth to our community. Another thing you guys said, which is something that I was sitting here pondering, is utilizing people who have business rights and vested interests in town that live in the county. I have wondered that since I was young. I've always wondered why nobody has a say whenever they come here. My example, too, is the gentleman who owns Geckos. I know that there was a huge thing on him trying to open that restaurant, nightclub, whatever. To me, if they're going to follow the marijuana code, and if they're going to follow this, we need to give people like him a chance. We need to give people like you guys a chance that live out in the county, that live in town. My boss at Napa, same thing. I've always wondered that. So those are things that I've always worked on. I also am a dirt track racer. I like the fairgrounds. There for a long time, we used to have four-wheeling events here. We have a gentleman here who has probably the biggest four-wheeler shop, and he sends out crawlers that win. And we used to have events and stuff around here, and I noticed that kind of gradually is dwindled out. Mm-hmm. So I understand and want to utilize that we need to protect our water and protect our lands and protect things, but I also think that we need to utilize the need for things. We have people who travel out of town and take $10,000 to $20,000 and go race for 7 days. Our fairgrounds, I'm sure we could accommodate a huge influx, and we've got a racetrack that's being worked on. That's fine. But I also came from the BMX track side, where we fought tooth and nail at a young age to get the BMX track in with the city. And I was a young kid, blood, sweat, and tears out there moving dirt around, working hard. So I know that there can be work done, and the track is still here to this day from that. So like I said, there's some things that I feel that we could utilize and make better. And same with coming and talking with you gentlemen. I've known you for a long time, Mr. Ertel. I've known you, Mr. Sukla, and I've known Mr. Candelaria. I went to school with his daughter. I don't see any reason why I would not come up to you, shake your guys' hand, and say, hey, what can we do to help? What can I do to help? Or listen. I'm 30 years young. I gladly sit here and listen to you guys all day and just get the input from you guys so that I could at least try to make our community better. And with that being said, I think I'm pretty much done. But
Right.
I just want to at least put the chance to, have a say and, learn a little bit more and be involved. So,
All right. Well, thank you.
Is
We
there
really
anything you guys
appreciate
have?
coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rafe O'Brien? I know it's different.
Anybody else? Rachel?
All right, I'm working on my public speaking, but
That's a good start.
for those who don't know me, I'm Rachel Medina. I live at 411 East First Street. I am in the GIS and addressing department for the county, so I've been involved in local government. I've been in my position almost 4 years. Loved every minute of it. And I've been involved in the city of Cortez government since I've moved here. I've been on the Parks and Rec board for 3 years, and I've been on the planning and zoning board for 2.5 years. I am not from here originally. I'm from Longmont, Colorado, but I plan to be here at a long time. So I really want to help shape the future of our community and, help guide that and make good informed decisions. I'd like to make a few comments about what's said before. I think there is a slight misunderstanding on what the 3-mile influence area is. It's really strictly for master streets plans and road congestion as cities grow. And the reason for the 3 miles is back, maybe 100 years ago when communities were growing and cities in the east were annexing at a rapid pace, the country decided to instill a 3-mile restriction so that cities can only annex up to 3 miles past their boundary in a given year. So that's where that number comes from. Granted, the west is very different than the east, but a lot of things happen there first. So I think with the city of Cortez, their intention really is to just make sure that the development that happens in the county, that it matches their master streets plan, so that as the city does grow eventually, we have our thoroughfares and there is no congestion. Also in regards to county residents being able to participate in city elections, I think that's a great sentiment, but we also need to be careful about being very specific in that wording, because there is a reality where maybe California or Texas residents own and run all of our businesses, and then now they can have control of what happens in our community. So that could be a slippery slope if we don't really specify that it's county residents we want to participate in those elections, because I'd hate to see us lose the ability to make our own decisions and govern ourselves because business owners who are not part of our community are making those decisions for us. I forgot what else I was going to say. So
Very well done.
Yeah. So, but if you ever have any questions or want to get to know me more, my office is right here, and I'm usually at the dog park after work. So,
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
Anybody else?
Gail Lepock, 7672 County Road CC, Pleasant View. No, I'm not running for city council.
We knew that, Gaelic. You got to live in the city to do that.
Judge Blue just said that we have an interest, even though we don't live in the city. Actually, I don't own a business or land in the city. No, I want to talk about Kilgore Construction. First, I want to thank the commissioners and the ladies in the administration office. They were very nice about getting me copies of invoices for all of 2019 for the Elam Kilgore companies. But when I made my Freedom of Information request, I had requested, or I thought I did anyway, all information about those Kilgore contracts. And all I received was copies of the invoices. So I'm here to request copies of bid specifications, contracts, and scoring information that was done by the county. And I believe that had to do with both the parking lot at the senior center and a lot of road work. So if you think I should submit another Freedom of Information request, I will, although I believe my first request should have covered this.
Did you just specify in it bid specifications, contracts, and scoring in that first request?
No, I requested information, and I believe I said all information.
They probably do need specifics. Yeah. You don't need to do a whole nother one.
Okay.
Put in writing to them, ask them if you can amend. I can walk in there with you if you want. Just amend the first one, specify those 3 things so that they can do searches for that.
Okay, well, the reason I didn't specify specifically is because I didn't even know the names of what you would do, such as bid specifications. At the time I made the request, I didn't even know that the county was using bid specifications. I now do, but when I asked for all information related to those contracts, I just a general sort of a thing.
Right, I understand. Often, and actually, the law requires you to be very specific on those kinds of requests, so just amend it.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm Adrienne Radican. I'm not running for city council. Sorry.
What did you say your first name was again?
Adrienne Radican. Hi. So I'm just here because I'm concerned about the N.M.P.M truck stop. I drop my child off there every morning, so I have noticed the graffiti and just as a concern about what you guys are planning with that and what the focus is around that. And I know it was in the paper. And it seems like we're moving forward on that, but as a concerned citizen, I just wanted to see if this was the time to ask about something.
Sure, we are working on that.
Okay.
We're trying to get it cleaned up.
Okay.
So there's
And I
lots
mean,
of
with the,
parts.
sorry, excuse me.
There's a lot of moving parts, but we have staff on that, ownership.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a priority for us.
Good,
It's
because
a
I think it
priority.
also piggybacks on the airport. I mean, it's just such an eyesore.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there any way to like follow up with you guys with that or keep?
Do you have, maybe Shaq can weigh in on it. He's the one that's.
Next Tuesday, James Dietrich will be giving us an update on where we've been on that and where we are now and where we're heading.
Okay, and that's another meeting?
Yeah, that'll
We
be
have one
next
every
That will be
Tuesday.
in our meeting here.
Oh,
In our
this,
meeting.
okay, so next
He had to
Tuesday.
be out of town this morning,
Yeah.
or we
Okay.
were going to do that today, but he will be updating us next week.
Good. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good.
We're all on the same page on that issue.
Good.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Mindy Nelson wrote in. I just want to thank you for showing up at the Land Use Code meeting.
You're welcome.
And it was very huge. And it was also interesting when you say the city council never shows up or never comes with these breakfast meetings. I haven't been political very long, and I've been over in La Plata County for 30 years. And I started going to meetings and started planning my day around these breakfast meetings that I saw on the agendas. And every time I would go, I think it was like that morning, they would show a cancellation, or the night before. I mean, it was so right there, you had to really pay attention. And every time the city council would cancel that meeting, and even talk to commissioners over there, and they says, you know, we understand what you're saying, but we got to get city council to show up. So it's almost like it's a network deal going on. I've noticed that with the two mayors too. So, I don't know. Anyway, but thank you for showing up the other night.
You're welcome.
I'm B. McAfee, 22277 County Road 20. I'm not running either for city council. And I think that it's a really good thing to want to have an easy relationship with the city council, for sure, between the city and the county. And Larry Don, you made some very good points. I think I jotted down like 7 of the things that you said, different things to work on with the city council. And you know, I don't know what the deal is, but there is a sense of hostility. And sometimes that's a matter of self-presentation, how you talk about things to other people. Sometimes it's a matter of egos. I think that gets in the way of a whole lot of stuff sometimes. And I really don't know how to suggest, let's see, you said repairing the relationship, but I do think it's really vital. It's vital to the economic well-being and the cultural well-being of our whole county. That's what I believe. And so I don't know if, I'm not sure asking city council member candidates to come here and talk, that's a step. That was a step this morning. But I'm wondering if there's other things to do. Several times I asked all 3 of you, to try to engage with the community. You've heard me say that, I think, on a number of occasions. And so I would stress that again. And so what do you think can be done? Can the county host a, gosh, I want to say open house or forum? I don't think the county can host a forum for candidates. I'm not sure about that. But this is a good start today, but there are a lot of other voices. And I think that the city council, particularly Karen, the mayor, was extremely patient the other night because there were some very harsh comments made, and some of them directly to her. And that is not helpful. I don't think that is healing. No, Keenan, don't frown at me.
Well, no, you did the very thing to us. I guess one shoe doesn't fit everybody, huh?
So
I mean, you've come up here at public time and made some very, very ugly comments to us commissioners. So the shoe doesn't fit you?
No, the shoe does fit me.
Okay,
all right, I want
to be sure of that.
I want it to fit me. That's
Good.
stretching and that's learning. But it's a two-way thing, Keenan. And Larry Don, I think you understand. So
this
how
is the deal.
can we help?
I gave 5 issues, 7 issues. There's hundreds of issues.
Yes, I know.
But the more of the issues that I would have brought up, then the less important those other issues would have been. When we have our town hall meetings, why don't we have the 3 commissioners and the city council of which city it is sitting right next to us? And it's a town hall meeting with the county and the city, one time, one night. I could go on and on about the different ways, but we need to all work together.
Well,
our phones are open. I tell you what, you can get a hold of any one of us commissioners anytime. Any city council candidate can get a hold of us.
And we proved that we can work with this council and with the mayor. And the very perfect example of that is Road 7th Street extension to County Road 27. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
They're very workable. Everybody was amiable, and I mean there was no restrictions there.
Right.
I think a lot of the friction came from the previous town administrator of Cortez. I think there was a very definite reason that we kept ourselves very separate from the city of Cortez, and I think they were very definite why they kept themselves separate from us.
Let me bring up the issue that I think sparked the. So we have been working on taking 7th Street through to County Road 27 so that we could tie the buses where they could go the back way instead of going on Main Street. So when this issue was brought up 4 years ago, the city administrator says, no, we're not for taking 7th Street through there. We want to take 3rd Street. Well, 3rd Street is the street that goes between the high school and Walmart. Now, this is the reason why. He wanted that for us to work on. And the reason that he wanted to do that is everybody needs to know this. The Baymont Inn is in this county. The rest of those hotels is in the city. The city does not get the sales tax off of the Baymont Inn. Guess who owns all the property behind the Baymont Inn? The people that own the Baymont. So if the road would have went between the new high school and Walmart, then the Baymont owners would agree to an annexation so that that way then all of a sudden the city gets the sales tax off
and lodging tax
off of the Baymont. It was about money. It wasn't about doing the right thing for this community and taking that road 7th Street on out. It was about money. If you want to be a good city councilman, if you want to be a good commissioner, care more about the people that you work for than yourself.
No, I absolutely agree. And what I'm asking is how can you help? Because one of the things that happened with the land use code that the city proposed was public pressure. So how can the commissioners facilitate some public meetings or generate public pressure for the county and cities to work together? That's what I'm asking.
And we're open for suggestions.
How can you be instrumental in that? And I don't know if you can sponsor a big open meeting I mean, I don't
I-
know, if people had ideas, I think it's worth thinking
MB,
about.
I think we do it just like we did yesterday with our board-to-board with Empire Electric. We have board-to-board meetings with the council and the county commissioners, and we've done that at least 3 or 4 times within the last year and a half. And we have worked through issues with the city council, and this 7th Street extension was a perfect example of that. So there just needs to be more of that continuity of connection between the commissioners and the city council on a scheduled, regular basis or whatever, and we're doing that.
And I think the other important thing in the doing of that is working with information that's accurate and not fake. And I think, and I just want to say, Rachel pointed out and gave you some facts about the 3 mile.
We know
We
that.
knew all of
Well,
that.
We've known that a long time.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of the public didn't know that and saw it as an invasion.
And it was because of the wording in that code that made them feel threatened and the way they put that together.
Extraterritorial is a very threatening
It
word.
dang sure is, and shame on them for even thinking of doing that.
Yeah, but.
And they
but-
got it
but
stuffed
still-
right down their throat, didn't they?
Okay, but still the 3 mile thing exists. I
Sure
mean,
it does.
yeah.
It's a zone of influence, and
or
we pay
sphere of
attention to street.
influence, maybe.
Basically, the only thing that does MB is do street alignments.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
Period.
Exactly. But you see, the public didn't get that. So
Well,
it's
because they
somehow
had it-
operating from real facts, and I think public pressure is what shapes what we do.
So for those of
politically.
you city council candidates that are listening, one thing that could have been done that would have been helpful if instead of just sitting there with their mouth shut the other night, if the city council would have addressed what they thought was misinformation, they could have cut public comment in about half.
Yeah, and another
Yeah,
thing about that city council meeting, which I'm glad that it went as long as it did, but you need to know as a city council member, somebody could have voted to turn down the city council, to turn down the resolution at any time during that meeting. But I'm glad that the public got to speak so we could hear all those different ideas.
I totally agree, and I also hear some blame right there too. So I think blaming doesn't work very well for anybody. And I'm not blaming you. I'm just trying to say, how can the public help you help the city? I don't know. I think it's really a very important thing, and I thank you, Larry Don, for bringing it all up. And you mentioned some terribly important issues. So I absolutely agree with the issues that you mentioned. And it's too bad there are not more people here or in some other kind of public forum.
it's
Hopefully
on
there are
YouTube.
people listening
Yeah,
and watching.
Just the information, what I would give as city councilman is whatever your staff tells you, verify that is correct. That is what we have done since day one. Just verify if, and I got to tell you what, Montezuma County's got a very, very good staff. In fact, as a city councilman, where the fight would begin, don't try to take our staff away from us.
Don't come soliciting.
Yeah. Anybody else for public comment?
Rachel Medina. I just want to comment on the land use code too, because I was on the planning and zoning board, kind of inherited this code that already existed and reviewed it and tried to make changes to it before it went to city council. And I think you're right, the approach was bad from the beginning, and it was doomed to fail. And I think part of that is the city and the county do really need to work together for economic development, because we all benefit from that. It's not a you versus, or us versus them.
No, we all live in the same place.
And I think I'm really happy that to see such engagement from our community in this, because it affects us all, and we're all a part of it, and we all have a voice, that deserves to be heard. And I think that the land use code is something that is going to be brought up again. And if we look at Mancus as an example, they picked a company that was, public outreach was the forefront of developing that code. And I think we need to use that idea. We have a lot of experts in our community from different realms in the community, business owners, tourism, construction. And I think we need a lot of their input before we ever go forward again with the land use code. And I think that takes, a lot of it's going to take compromise and working together and staying professional, but I want to make sure, I want to be a part of that and make sure that happens. And I respect you all, and I love working for you every day, and I think that we can help mend that relationship and work together. So,
Thank you.
So I don't know if I'm going to be the last speaker here again, Elizabeth Berger, or if there's others, but I think the outcome of this meeting today would be fantastic if we could bring that common sense that N.M.P. has addressed, as well as her desire, and move it forward and kind of move away from the word land use code, where we all have seen that the community can work together. And the community did, and the county did, and the city did, and move that drive that we could see forward into the future more openly, and overcome those boundaries that are artificial, to my understanding, because we have the proof now. Yes, we can work together and transform it, and maybe it was the right timing for the land use code meeting right now, right before the new re-election of city council, to show and prove to everybody we are one community. And maybe we can come up with ideas. And you started that process today by inviting new city council members or advocates here to speak. And MB tried to open the doors too. Maybe we can open them a little wider and all work together and come to the working relationship that you and the city members, maybe not the council members, but the people living in the city would desire and like to see as an outcome. Thank you.
We want the same. So,
And it's important to keep in mind that this commission is going to change. The complexion of this commission is going to change in November just as drastically as this city council is going to change in April. So there's going to be a whole new set of faces on this commission come January 2021 from the November election. So I think it behooves you to pay attention to who those candidates are, what their stances are, what their beliefs are, how they plan to proceed with whatever they have in mind in becoming a county commissioner. Because he and I are done here in about 8 or 9 months. So.
One last thing for me too. Since they brought up the 3 mile thing, I actually had a meeting with Tracy and Neva, and I actually brought up an example because it was a state statute, and it was something that I actually knew was a pre-existing thing. 2 neighborhoods in particular, Brandon's Gate and the Southern Bluff, do not follow the correlation or the grid-like structure of its neighborhood or its neighboring communities. So, and I asked Neva and Tracy both this, and neither of them could answer me why neither of those subdivisions followed underneath this, even though it was a state statute. So that kind of got me whenever they did the whole 3 mile thing, or even the 1 mile thing, because they're not enforcing it now. And they had nothing for me whenever they said that. And that was a huge concern to me, just because it was already a state statute. It was already something that can be utilized. Even though we're not voted it in, it can still be utilized now. But there are still neighborhoods that don't follow it and that are not cohesive with their neighboring communities. So in my opinion, it's kind of a pick and choose, I guess, in the way that I'm seeing it. And that was a gray area thing that I brought up to them. And neither of them, like I said, had any answers for that. And as for being held accountable, I was held accountable whenever I worked at every job I've ever been at. It's not necessarily placing blame. It's putting the accountability on somebody. Somebody has to step up, or somebody needs to be shown that they were the ones that were possibly in the wrong, or that they were the ones that have made the mistake. I do it all the time, and I am man enough to stand up and say, I made a mistake. There's money missing from our city, and they've had issues in the past. So I just truly believe that there's no place blame being placed, but somebody needs to be held accountable for the mess ups in our city. And again,
And the county.
Yes,
As
sir.
commissioners, we have made several wrong decisions, and people bring it to our attention, and we're glad they do.
yes, sir. And that's all I want to say. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Well, maybe we shouldn't use the word several, but we've. Is there anybody else? Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you for all your
Our phones
input.
were available. If you want to visit, reach out to us. Let's
Yeah.
work together and let's move this county forward. We live in a great place. Old business. We got the E99 or the E911 update. Shaq?
So Lori went and met with the Dolores County Board of Commissioners last Wednesday, and they were very receptive to what John had written. However, their lawyer was not there, and they didn't feel comfortable making a decision until their lawyer reviewed it. So Lori's got to go back again.
Oh.
It's taking forever.
Well, can we not put a motion forward contingent upon their attorney's acceptance of this document and this increase in the E911 rates?
What kind of motion are you?
I was just to move forward with the $1.45 per phone per month charge on cell phones and telephones, so that we can keep our dispatch center, do a remodel and rebuild on our dispatch center.
What did we already set it to? Was it 130? I don't know.
No, it was
we
one.
started
It was
$1
what?
and-
It was $1.
No,
Nope, it's a $1.
$1.
And they still haven't
No, but I mean,
instituted that.
The suggested was
$1.40.
that she gave us.
Did she give you okay, I thought it was $1.45, but $1.40, I'm good with that. Yeah.
We ought to we can, but we ought to probably put it on our agenda, say we're going to do that, take comment
Okay.
on it,
All right.
and go through that process. You know, my understanding of the situation was that we were already collecting from Dolores. They just didn't initially enter into that agreement that some of the fire districts and municipalities did with us back in decades ago. But we were still doing it and collecting from them, and I believe Ms. Johnson wanted it formalized so that when she did go present it to whatever state authority she needs to present it to, that basically everything would be in order.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think she needed documentation from Dolores County that they're in compliance and agreement with that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it sounds like we're just going to have to wait.
Let's wait until they do it. Did they know when the attorney was going to be able to review that, Shaq? Did we have a date certain that they were going to review that?
We do not have a date certain for how long it will take him to review it, but I will put some pressure on them this week.
Well, let's put it on our agenda for next week to get this taken care of, and hopefully Dolores County can get
I've had it on every agenda this year.
Okay.
All right.
There's no way we're going to miss that then. All right, thanks, Shaq.
Let's go on to the next item on the old business, the state-county wildfire agreement. John?
This was the agreement, if you recall, that the state came and presented. We had a couple people here. The sheriff had, I think, an issue with one of the sections, which I think he got by. I had made a couple recommendations to change the venue from Denver to Montezuma County, and also to have a reciprocal clause that says there's one in there that says the state isn't financially liable if they didn't budget for it, and I think that's the law anyway. That's why I said, why don't we just say the parties, Montezuma County or the state. I don't think it was the Attorney General's office. I did speak with the state wildfire people, and I think as recently as yesterday, actually, it sounded to me like for lack of a better word, a government bureaucracy to try to get anything in that agreement changed. They were not optimistic. They suggested they could try, but it wasn't going to probably happen. And 35 counties or so had already signed that same agreement. And so I didn't end that conversation with any positive feelings about, oh, we're going to get those two parts changed. How much do we care? I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't think it's a very big deal making those changes, but also as far as entering into that agreement, the agreement doesn't call for change. It doesn't obligate any funds. kind of a mechanism to help negotiate agreements to have money change hands when necessary. It's something that we can hold off on, see if any other counties fight them on it. It's something I'm okay with you guys agreeing and signing. It has both a signature line for the sheriff and the BOCC, or the chair of the BOCC. I don't have especially strong feelings about it.
Do you have any concerns to say that we had a fire that ended up costing $1 million, that if we didn't sign this agreement, that the county would be liable for the $1 million if the agreement wasn't signed?
So there I guess is that concern. I mean, my thinking about that was that the state's going to sign this thing as soon as we do, and we could do a last-second signing. I mean, I'm not positive of that, but I feel like this thing could be signed right when it needs to be signed in order to avoid something like that.
So we have signed this before.
We I think have. I think they said that we signed one 5 years ago, 2015.
So your recommendation is that we wait?
I would defer to you all. I don't really have a strong recommendation on it. I don't think there's huge concerns. They certainly were not sounding like they wanted to accommodate or negotiate with us.
Okay.
I
Commissioner
can,
Tell, what are your thoughts?
Or the sheriff does come in a couple weeks. I don't know what Administrator Powers was about to say, but maybe we could wait till the sheriff comes.
I was going to say, I can put it on the agenda in 2 weeks of public safety.
Yeah, let's have the sheriff here and let's get his input on that. And then, John, I would like to see you continue to maybe apply a little bit of your pressure to this agency and say, you know, Montezuma County feels these are changes they would like to see in this. Why cannot those be accommodated for our signing of this agreement?
I think I implied that you all may not sign it
Yeah.
if we didn't change it, and
Yeah,
that's pretty
okay.
much how we left the conversation. But
Right.
I didn't give any definitive answers. About
All
what
right,
you
well,
all
we'll
were
leave
gonna
the
do.
issue.
I'll give you 2 more weeks to work it.
2
Okay.
weeks. Let's go on to Road and Bridge, Rob Engelhardt. Hello, Mr. Engelhardt, how are
Good
you?
morning, Rob. We're good.
So this morning, I'll go through the schedule. It's not very in-depth because what we're basically doing, as you can see as we go through it, is mostly some snow removal. It seems like we get a little bit every week, which is nice, and adds the moisture and gives us something to do, to be honest with you. So it's working out pretty well. This week we're doing right on track yesterday, and today we're doing some cleanup, and then we get back into some general maintenance. We do a lot of tree trimming, a lot of roadways, driveways. All 3 districts are working like that. There's 2 things we're kind of focusing on as the spring, January thaw hit, then our roads started falling apart. So we had that gravel I've been telling you about in different places stored, like at Pleasant View, out of that Ormiston pit, and put it to work, and it's working real well. Now, there's some issues in Mancus, and we're working on them yesterday. But along with that, also, we're going down McCamel Canyon and putting a lot of effort into Road G all the way to the state line this winter, doing roadway edges, driveway approaches, access approaches, tree trimming, just anything we can do down there to keep us from having to do it this spring when we're getting busy. So,
Yeah.
and it's worked out real well because that's been a little bit warmer down there with this
Sure,
milder
good place to
winter.
work, yeah,
Mhm.
you bet.
So that's worked out well. That kept the truck crew busy. We haven't been hauling any gravel. We don't like to really haul gravel to the roads when it's you know, frozen or too muddy. So there's kind of a tender spot there where we stay off of it. So that's kept everybody pretty well employed all winter and doing some pretty good things for us. So that's the general idea of what the schedule is for the next couple of weeks and into February. So crushing is going on at the Ormiston pit. We're crushing 3/4 inch road base. We've been contacted by Dolores County, and they would like to purchase some gravel from us this year with our intergovernment pricing that we've always given before. So we've offered them a price to produce about 15,000 ton for them.
Do you know where they're going to place it? Do you know where they're going to place that gravel?
No, I don't. I've heard that they're using it for some more Forest Service type roads, to improve some different roads, but I don't know which ones.
You
So I
don't
don't.
Dolores Norwood Road?
No, and I haven't talked to Steve about it. This is a conversation that's between him and Randy that's been going on.
Oh, okay.
So but we're working on that. The Forest Service has also reached out for some Schedule A gravel out of their pit, so we'll produce some for them too. So we're pretty busy making 3/4 this year for us and them. And then we still have to get into the drain rock production for the new landfill cell that they've got down there. So you'll be pretty busy all winter up there, producing up there, along with some more 1.5 inches for our own dirt roads and our improvements on those. So
You've got plenty of winter work.
yeah, and actually that's a good place to work in the winter. It's not very muddy up there, so he kind of likes that pit in the winter, so it's working out pretty well. So, but at the same note, we're working on the road today, getting it sanded, and we want to haul out of it tomorrow to resupply the material, that type of material at Mancus, to do some work over there this winter. So we know if we don't do it like on nice days, then next week it's supposed to snow all week. We won't be able to get trucks in there again for weeks, you know. So we're taking advantage of these weather windows to jump on things like that. So staying busy with that type of work. 7th Street, listened to you talk about that a little bit today. I'll just give you an update on that. The fiber optic is 98% complete. The boxes are in, the tubing is in. Now all we've got to do is pull the fiber through the conduits. There was some little bit of cleanup they got left to do, but it just weather-wise they couldn't quite do it. But it's such a minor amount. They did a great job in there, and it was a good contract and did a good job. So that's installed. We're talking to Montezuma Water about getting them in there, maybe in about 2 weeks. We need to do a little more work though before I'm comfortable with allowing them to put their water line in, location-wise. We're just not quite there, pulling slopes and cleaning up to give them a good defined right-of-way line. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, the weather will improve to a point where we can do that type of work and get them in there. And that would be their goals, to get in and run that water line from Road 27 all the way to the west end there. So that'll be it. I did do a little talking with Orly, with Empire Electric, and I'm pretty sure they're still planning on doing the same thing, putting everything to theirs on the south side of the road, and they're still working towards getting that done this spring. So if all goes well, we would like to get in there sometime in mid-March or late March, and if the weather's good, and start finishing up the subgrade and preparing for gravel and get it gravelled and still be right on track to pave this summer, early summer, I should say. So and I have it in business. So all in all, we're doing good at the road department when it comes to that type of work, and moving right along, just in planning our work for next spring. So this is a picture. Thanks, Shaq. This is a picture. I just happened to be down there last week, was checking with the guys on the tree trimming, and I'd heard that the BLM had got their parking lot built. This is at Sand Canyon. And it's, what a nice job they did. I mean, it really come out nice, you know.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, and it's just, thank you, Board of Commissioners, for pushing that button until we finally got it done, you know.
We've been pushing that button a long time.
7 years.
Yeah.
But all good things do come if you got the patience for it, I think. And
well, you know, I think, Rob, I think you and us helped prompt them to get that done. When we jumped in there, and within a couple of months had a parking lot up there north of, or east of the Lamb House built off that road today. I think that was big impetus for them to say, you know what, the county's taking care of more than their end of this problem down here, and we need to get our end cleaned up down here. And
I think you're right. I think that led the door to be open enough to say, let's do something here.
Yeah.
This wasn't that hard.
No, that's not that big a deal.
It really wasn't that big a deal.
No.
And it's done, and where they found the funding, I don't care. You know, it's just that they did it. And it's not a very good picture because I'm not a very good photographer, but there's a guy sitting there just coming off from hiking. This is in the middle of the week at a crazy time of day, you know, like 10 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And it's that way all the time. Yeah. So, you know, it's good. It's good to have it. So it's a good deal. So that's why I took the picture.
Because it's going to get busy down here in about another month.
Oh, yeah.
Another month, it's going to get real busy down there. I think if it had been for Super Bowl Sunday, they'd have been loaded, you know, because it was nice on Sunday. So, yeah, good deal. So, what else? Okay. The quick claim for the Pleasant View Fire Department. John, do you have any update on that for me by any chance? Do you know anything about that?
No. I gave it to Commissioner Candelaria. He gave it to them. I think that they were fixing to sign it. Okay, that's good. I'm not quite ready yet, but I have reached out for quotes to do that remodel. We got to take 2 doors off the north end out and make one big door. Do a little bit of remodeling there. I've got a price from one contractor and another one I'm going to meet after this meeting today.
you know, in a funny way, that's not easy to get contractors to do that because they're all busy, but I'm glad they're all busy too. So we've kind of put the brakes on moving forward with anything and given it time due to this quick claim and let this thing mature a little bit with some contractors. So I got another meeting this afternoon and maybe we'll at least get 2 bids on it. So, but we're ready to go as soon as we get that quick claim.
And just an update for the public, the counties made an agreement to purchase the Pleasant View Fire Department. We own the county, you own the land around it, and they built their new fire department. And so it's going to be a great asset for the county for holding sand and additional equipment when we have to work that part of our county. Go ahead.
And Rob, I'll inquire with Mr. Candelaria today to either put pressure on them. I mean, this should be a quick thing.
It's okay, John. I just was kind of trying to get a time frame. I'm not in a big hurry where I don't see us even getting a lot of use out of this winter. It's the winter's running away quickly, and we'll be fine. It's not the issue. I didn't want to jump on something real quick and push if I didn't have to yet. So. Waiting for these contractors is kind of important. I'd like to get a couple of quotes, at least 2, to bounce it off of one another. So that's why I don't care. I just curious. So. Empire Electric did make it out and look at that pole. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of the pole, but the pole with the siren on top is leaning at a precarious position. And so Orly's looking at what we can do there to run power across from the south side of CC and reestablish a meter there or whatever he's going to do. So that's underway too. Let's see. Okay. The Dolores County, I'll go back to them for a second, did ask us if we knew where they could get clay at to mix with this gravel.
Ormiston gravel doesn't have any, yeah.
So we told them, we've got lots of clay that we deal with. We don't own it, and I want to make this open and transparent, as the word goes. We do not own that pit at Hay Camp. There's a lot of material there that Lavina Sanders owns. It's her pit, her price, and she can do whatever she wants with it. Now, sometimes we'll push it out of the way so we can get gravel or whatever, but we have no control over that clay. And so if the Dolores County chose to work out a deal with Lavina, I'd just like to be known in public. It had nothing to do with me. That's their business, their pit, their land. So that's where I stand with that. That comes up from time to time in our dealings with our gravels and where we put materials and how we handle our spoils and reclaim and all that. If Lavina and the Dolores County, if it ever comes to pass, works out a deal, because they are looking for clay, that's their deal. So. Just
it's in the pit we're operating in, but completely out of our purvey between them and Lavina.
So, in the effort of transparency, there it is for the record.
Yeah, and we want them to get that clay if they need it, because they're our neighbor and they need gravel on their roads as well. So.
And that gravel out of Ormiston does not work on a road without some clay.
It just rolls right off.
Yeah, that's right. So if they can make something for their county work or their schedule agreements with the Forest Service work, I'm opening my little bit of influence with Lavina Sanders to go get as much clay as they want, because it's none of my business. So, okay,
gotcha.
That's done. Gotcha. So. Yeah. I think Doug might be here. Doug, are you here?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Can we address something before we go to the HUP funding? And I think I already know the answer. But so we have green roads, we have red roads. Some of the red roads that the county maintains, some that they don't. My question is, and I know it always comes up about conflict of government against private enterprise, but there is a lot of subdivisions out in the county that need the roads bladed once a year. Has there ever been some kind of a rate, or is this even feasible? Just be upfront and honest. That where a homeowners association would go to the county and say, okay, our road is we would like to have our road bladed twice a year. First of all, is there a rate? And first of all, is that competing with private enterprise as far as something like that?
It's competing with a private enterprise, and there's contractors out there that blade roads. So if we beat their price, I don't know that that's all that legitimate. And if because of our cost structures and all that.
I think that's a pretty dangerous place to go. I think like you said, there are private companies out there that can do that work, can gravel for them, can blade for them, whatever. They just need to.
Do you ever get phone calls for those kinds of things? And if so, do we have a list of those contractors? I think there's a lot of HOAs out there that don't know that there's somebody that's sitting there with a blade that would go blade there.
Yes, we do get those calls from time to time, and we do have a contractors list of both blading roads, repairing roads, and snow removal. And we forward that along to them, and it helps a lot.
That's, there you are, you've got it.
All right.
Just call the girls at the shop, and they'll get that, they'll email it to them or fax it, whatever they need, so.
All right, we can go on with the HUD funding. This is Doug Roth. He is the head of our GIS. As city council members, he also works for the city, right?
Yeah.
So
Contractor only.
Yeah.
contractor. Oh, remember that
He's a contractor, not an employee.
We have I'm handing out, and we'll show these on the screen. It's a summary of our changes. You can, and I will also provide you with all the information afterwards. We also have, I'm handing to the commissioners, and we'll show this map on the screen here. The changes that we have for this year.
I think, Doug, didn't you say we're also going to do a county map update, or is this what this is?
This is not the county map update. We will be doing
Later on?
2020 official road map, and that will include a lot of these changes, but also a lot of separate issues that we'll be looking at.
Okay.
That's talking about this as well. And then lastly here, Commissioner, this is a map that Rob and I came up with yesterday that shows all the work that's been done over the past 6 years in Rob's term. Get one of these to
Wow.
view shack.
That's pretty impressive.
There's a lot of connected dots, ain't it?
Yes, that is. Very impressive.
Updated map.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
That includes the
Yes, sir.
roads.
That I know of.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
So the purpose of the presentation this morning is to update any of the system changes that affect our HUTF funding. HUTF is Highway User Tax Funds. Those are funds that are portion of the gas tax funds that we get back into our community to help with the county road department. Things that affect that funding formula are the total length of maintained mileage and the surface of those miles, of the miles that we submit. So any surface changes, segment additions, and also similarly, since we have a Schedule A road agreement with the Forest Service, we can also claim those segments that we assist the Forest Service in maintaining their portions of road. So you'll see that as we go down the presentation.
One thing I don't see, though, is the dollar amount. Am I missing it? Or do we have that figure? I think it's important for the public to know that,
Yes.
there's a difference between how much that you're paid in gas tax on a gravel road versus a paved road.
Right.
Do you have that information?
And this is an approximation because every year it changes a little bit based on how the state does their formula. Last time I did an estimation for our system, it was approximately $900 a mile for a gravel or any unpaved road that we maintain, and approximately $1,360 a mile for a paved road. In our case, that can be either a chip seal road, or in this case, we're doing a lot more asphalt overlays or asphalt roads now. So those would be in the paved category. That would be the $1,360 per mile.
And it's good for the public to know that you know, when the county goes out there and drops a substantial amount of money to upgrade a road from a gravel road to a paved road, with those kind of figures, you're gaining $400 or $500 per mile from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So let's step through these changes here. Is that the first?
That's the first, yes.
That's the first one. Okay, we don't have the K.8 that you had up there originally as the first slide. Okay, that's the first one. This segment is in the Highland Terrace subdivision. There's a replat done here in 2017, and I'm not sure the history, but this segment that's highlighted there got extended a bit into the cul-de-sac with some gravel. Not sure if it was actually built up to county road specs, but that is a dedicated public right-of-way to that cul-de-sac. We're talking about a very short segment, but it was important to get that into the inventory. That is gravel right now. And there, as you can kind of see on that imagery, there is a new home at the end of the road, and I believe we just assigned another new address recently. So there's a couple homes going in there in this subdivision that was developed back in the 1970s. So we did add that segment to the inventory as a gravel road segment. And the next one, there's shack. And then 2 changes here. Road H.6 was chip sealed by the county, accepted as a county road with that agreement. That is 0.37 miles, and that was added to our inventory and is now a county road. Went through the whole process to acquire that, those right-of-way agreements and so forth in there. And then just to the south of that there is Road H, which was a chip sealed road, 3.1 miles.
It was gravel turned into chip seal.
Gravel turned into chip seal, yes. And then the next segment there, Shaq. This is Road B from 21 to Highway 160, 491 is 0.35 miles. That was gravel to asphalt improvement. And then I guess the next one there, Shaq. This is a very small segment, but as part of the asphalt overlay that Rob did, and you can correct me here, is that you did actually go down a bit of that, what is that, section of 25? This is the road to the landfill, and there was a section that it looked like the apron from that Road F down that was also overlaid. That
just was the apron approach. Yeah.
Just the apron approach, that small section there. Very small section, what do they have there? 0.05 miles. But that is now correctly paved road. And then this slide, so we know we chip sealed 4.2 miles of the Dolores Norwood Road. And that was significant. That was a partnership. And that is a Schedule A road. So that was, you know, as it intended, that was a partnership with the Forest Service and the county. The county does get funds to help maintain that section of road. While I was adding that section of road, I realized that the CDOT inventory incorrectly had 1.85 miles of that inventory that was marked as gravel roads. It was actually paved roads.
Oh, so you gained another one. That's
so we gained another 1.85 miles. Nice. And while I was looking at that, and this is this is my mistake in not looking at this inventory closely enough. The Schedule A, you know,
but you're correcting it. So
I'm correcting it, yes. I have scoured our green sign county road system from back and forth to make sure the inventory is correct. We haven't had significant or any changes in the Schedule A agreements as long as I've known. And I did not check that data. We went back and checked that data. And in this area, the House Creek Road down to the boat ramp was in as gravel. In that inventory, so that's another 5.85 miles. Wow. So, something I should have caught before, and similarly we did go into the inventory and corrected the West Mancus Road up to transfer in 2017 when we did that similar kind of work and chip sealed that, and we got that all buttoned up. I did not go back and look through for these other Forest Service road surface types that were incorrect in the inventory. We're getting that corrected this year. So that does bring our total mileage changed from gravel to paved to 15.41. Of the work that we did is about is about 7.5, and about of those corrections to the Schedule A roads is about 7.5. So,
That's good.
And then this is the overview map, and this shows the work done this year as part of this process. Even if it doesn't affect funding, if we're rebuilding roads, if we're rebuilding paved roads that we're repaving, it doesn't really affect the HETF mileage totals, but we do use it as an opportunity to record any of the work that we've done in the previous year, so that we can show this on a map and so that we can track some of this work. In this map, the light blue color that's highlighted are road segments that were asphalt overlays. The purple sections are the roads that were re-chip sealed, ground up and re-chip sealed.
Would have changed that blue to something else. There's too many lakes out there.
Yeah.
Right.
We got little blotches of asphalt everywhere, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not great with colors, but the data's right now.
The data's right, yeah.
So is it covered, but I'm looking for, we did the landfill road.
That's F down here in the bottom.
Down the bottom there in the town there, that little, right there.
Where's that? Oh, okay, okay, sorry.
And then that does compare, just as an overview from our submission this time last year. Last year we had just over 5 miles that went from gravel to a paved surface. So we are significantly more, and I'm sure we'll be more here.
I guess map shows most of it there.
And then this map is one that Rob and I just came up with yesterday, and this shows essentially the totality of these types of public works projects that have been done since 2014. Whether it's going from an earthen surface to a graveled surface, chip sealed or asphalt overlay, and that puts that all on one single map, so that we have an idea of where we need to go.
I think one of the things I'll probably work on is we're calling it re-chip seal with that same purple color, but a lot of those are new chip seals, and some of them are actually re-chip seals. So I'd like to sit down with Doug and get another color in there to show. Like over there east of 490 or west of 491, there's a lot of that subdivisional area out there was just tremendously busy that just got chip sealed a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it's showing up as a re-chip seal. So I think there's a real story to tell in improving the gravel road system into chip seal, and then of course spending good money on taking old roads and rebuilding those too. So there's a different story for that. So I think I'll probably work with him on changing that color a little bit.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like he said this morning, all these roads out there in the Pleasant View Yellow Jacket area on the east side of 491 in that red, those are some of our projects we've been working on for years, getting some of those crossroads and opened up to the farm ranch industry and watering cows and different things they got to do out there with dirt roads. Couldn't get in there, now they can with the 1.5 inch road base that we make out at Ormiston, and then eventually get it gravelled with some 3/4 out of Hay Camp and up to speed. So just a continuing perpetual motion of fixing roads and rebuilding new ones or building new ones. So
Never ending process.
no, Doug and I were talking yesterday that this is 2019, we started 2014, and we're already starting to loop back around and looking at the same roads we started gravel in 2014 as being wore out and ready for more. So, yeah, never ending battle. So, yeah.
Anything else?
You're winning the war.
Thank you.
Do we have to have a motion to approve this new up to funding map?
We always have before, yeah.
Yeah, we have in the past, yeah. I think you're absolutely right. We need to make a motion to approve that. So I would, without further ado, I would like to move that we approve our GIS department's HUTF roadwork changes and reporting for the year 2019. Do I need to mention the amounts?
How cumbersome is that, just those three?
I think it would be the total miles
I think you can just say as presented in the report.
As presented in our report from GIS and the road department.
Second motion and second to approve the HUTF roadwork and changes for the reporting year 2019 Montezuma County, as presented in the paperwork by our GIS department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I do have
you get that to the state then?
Yeah, I do have a signature sheet, and then I submit the digital records, and once this is signed, I'll leave this with Kim to get signed. I believe it's not I did give Commissioner Candelaria a copy of this map this morning before he left, and I think it's not a bad idea to get his signature before I submit this to the state.
Okay. Well, I guess we can get the two signatures here, and then when he gets back, he's supposed to be back about 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Excellent.
And one last piece of information I forgot to mention is I have been talking to Coughlin this morning in particular about getting us a quote ready to start grinding. We're hoping to start mid-March, third week in March. We've got about 9 miles scheduled for grinding this year, so
good.
That ball's rolling. So
Good.
Good deal.
Good. Well, those guys are good. They get right to it and through it, man.
That's the only way to fly.
I know,
Ron, before you go, I know Commissioner Candelaria was going to bring up a water situation that I think is more of an MVI issue, or out on Road Inn. Are you familiar with that?
He called yesterday about it, yeah.
Okay. Do you have anything that you want to say about that particular situation?
No, I think Mr. Candelaria, he's got a direction he's going in, and I think he's happy with the answer I gave him yesterday. So,
okay.
Yeah, for today anyway. So, okay. He may bring it up again.
Hold on, because I want to make sure that the other two commissioners are on page with that same direction.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, that's a good point. It's nothing more than the conversation we had out there with the meeting that day when we met the gentleman on Road Nancy with the water and the issue going through the pipe. It's more of a responsibility legality thing, and I pushed him over to Deputy Hume, Water Resources Deputy, to get some questions answered, and that's basically all of it is.
Yeah.
Same story, same conversation.
Same issue, same guy. And did we get the answers that we had expected? Pretty much.
Mr. Candelaria is pursuing it again with a deputy, and I just said go talk to Dave Hume on the legal issues and the discharge of the water and rates and all that. So, So,
all right.
If anything pops up new, I'll be the first to tell you. But nothing's new. So
I got you.
He's just rehashing some old stuff. So.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug.
All right. We have Bonnie Loving with Noxious Weeds next up on the. Good morning, Bonnie. How are you?
Good, how are you?
We're
No
doing well.
PowerPoint today, I just got a notepad. Okay, so first thing, Joe Bruner would like to be put on our Noxious Weed Advisory Board. And I think Shaq sent out his little paragraph explaining his interest in being on the board.
Are we going to be full now?
There's no limit. They don't do any voting, but it's nice to have them come to the meetings and give their recommendations on priority areas and management techniques. But I think 8's a good number to keep it at. I mean, if I have more interested people, I'd be open to having them come. But he's been coming to the meetings for about 2 years now.
And he's in the business of fighting weeds, so he's
Yeah,
got
he
a
works-
vested interest in knowing what's going on.
Yep, he works with Eddie Lewis.
Right.
So he's been doing weed management for quite some time.
Right.
And so he's one of those go-to guys that I'm calling all the time, getting his advice on herbicide recommendations and other things.
Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
We're good.
Okay.
Should I make that a motion, John?
We probably usually have the BOCC make motions to
I would move that Joe Bruner be appointed to our Noxious Weed Advisory Board for a term of
It's lifelong.
or a life sentence. A life sentence.
It is. Yeah, they're stuck in there forever. I mean, typically it's 3 years, but.
All right. Well, we'll start him out at 3 years. How's that for a 3-year term?
Yeah.
Second, there's a motion second. For,
And then
Joe
their
Bruner
kids,
For the
yeah.
Weed Advisory Board for Montezuma County for a 3-year term starting in 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, so just some updates for you. We're revising our no spray agreement. So last year, we just required A and B list species be managed, preventing them from flowering and going to seed. Well, we had a lot of problems with kochia and other annual weeds that grew really tall and they weren't being managed, so it causes a site visibility issue for people driving. So this year we're going to go back to requiring mowing. We're going to require those no spray areas to mow from the roadside to their fences and keep that vegetation under 6 inches.
Boy, there's a perfect example on County Road L out there on the north side of County Road L. And I don't know who did that or whose property that is, but they have mown the whole county road right away, right up to the fence. And I mean, they've taken all the weeds and knocked them all down. And
looks nice.
Where's that at?
On County Road L, just as you come over the hill, heading west, as you go past the city service center and heading west, come down there. And I mean, it's just clean and slick as it can be. I mean, whoever did that ought to be commended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's the change for that no spray. I applied for another grant, National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, the Restore Colorado grant for funds for that free adiphyte project. So we'll see about that one. The BLM stopped in. They're working on applying for some grants to manage Russian olives and salt cedars up Yellow Jacket Canyon. Yeah, so they're working on that, which is nice. So there's a lot of collaboration between all the different agencies, land managers in this area trying to control those free adiphytes. And then the last thing, I am going to be doing a spring training for applicators to get continued education credits. It's been something that people have been asking. So that's going to be May 15th at Destination Grill. Nice. So I didn't realize they had such a nice conference room, but I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll get about 100 people over there for that training.
So that will
Do
then.
we need to put that on the website, or is there any way we can help?
I'll be advertising it right now. I'm waiting for the CDA to approve it, and so hopefully in the next week or two I can start advertising.
And then our extension office, CSU, they're aware because you're right there with them.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Our
And
new
that's-
extension officer started yesterday.
Yeah, I saw your letter, and Mr. Felsen, are you making him feel warm and welcome and happy to be here?
Yes.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yep. Do you guys have any weed questions for me? Noxious weeds?
Just get ready to do battle. Get
Yes.
ready, or the war will be coming.
I'm
Are
ready.
you sure you couldn't find any at the M&M property?
Just Russian olives. Oh, and then another
The soil's
fact.
too toxic down there to find it.
I'm getting a lot of phone calls and emails. Everybody's really excited about that flyer we put in the property taxes.
Good. Good.
So we're getting a lot of awareness out of that.
Good deal.
So
Good
good.
deal. Yeah, great.
Thank you, Bonnie, for fantastic.
Bonnie, one question. Have you had any activity response, willingness, or anything from the BLM over on our Weber Canyon project over there? Has there been any kind of movement on?
No movement past the last meeting. They said that they're just working on it 100 feet at a time when they can and using biological control. So this spring, I'm going to have a meeting on the state land piece that we treated last fall, right on the BLM boundary, so we can compare the management techniques and just try to monitor and influence them to be a little more aggressive with those weeds.
Wow.
So.
Right.
Ongoing battle.
Keep at them, yeah, keep at them, keep at them.
Wells Arm and landfill. Should we go into the opening of
You want to do the bid opening first, Mel, or?
Whatever's too
do you have
short,
any-
guys, it doesn't matter.
Any schedule you'd like to have? Well, we'll go ahead and open the bids for your loader.
So what we're doing here right now is we have put out for bids for, maybe you can give us an overview of which you want to purchase down to the landfill and why.
We're trying to purchase a small loader for our baler operation. It's used inside the building. Take the bales from when they come out of the baler, set them outside, and set them in the storage area and load semis with once in a while.
All right, so the
Just a
first bid
small compact.
is going to come from Southwest Ag. And the total bid is $60,252 $1,000,000.71. And then I guess so there's just two bids, if I'm correct on what
That's
I
the
see
only two I
here.
received.
And then the next bid is going to come from Wagner Equipment over in Durango. I need to have them real long fingernails like Shaq.
You need a pocket knife. Can't believe you don't have one.
I got one. I used to have several, but they seem to take those away when you go to the airport. So this bid from Wagner Equipment on the new loader would be $55,015.
Okay.
So, do you feel comfortable with the lower bid of $8,000, that loader that Wagner Equipment is suggesting?
As the last meeting when we brought these bids in, that is the loader that fits our application better than any other machine out there.
The
And
one
that's
from
why we
Wagner
selected it last time.
Okay.
And it's $8,000.
And it is also cheaper, again.
That
Boy,
sounds
that
like
simplifies things a great deal for me. I would move that we accept the bid, Exhibit B, proposal from Wagner Equipment at 112 Turner Drive, Durango, Colorado, in the amount of $55,015 for the loader for our landfill.
Second, there's a motion and a second to approve, if I can got a good
sorry.
name. No, approve the purchase of a loader for the Montezuma County landfill, low bid to Wagner Equipment for $55,015. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. There you go with that.
So, while we're doing bids, I had forgotten that the bids for the sheriff's building roof were to be open today, and so I did not get that on the agenda. We do have a disclaimer that says we'll handle all business that comes before us, and Ms. Kim does have those bids.
All right, well, I think the commissioners are in agreement. We should go ahead and take care of the business. They don't pay us to sit on our hands, so. First bid is going to be top line installers. I will disclose that I've only had one pocket knife taken away at the airport that I forgot about, but my wife, in one setting, has had two. So.
Don't buy her another pocket knife.
Okay, if I'm reading this correctly, and we'll let Commissioner Ortel look at it, but it looks like the bid is for $311,000. $311,947. $311,947. Let you look over that and make sure that I pronounce that correctly, and then we'll go to the next bid. Is going to be Montezuma County Administrative Office from DKG and Associates.
Before we move to that, Commissioner, they have coupled two, Shaq, were you aware that we had a bid in here for Annex 3, as well as, did you put out for bid Annex 3 and the Sheriff's Office?
I think we put both of those out to bid, but I think they should have been separate.
Okay, they are. But in that total, the Commissioner Sukla read the $311,947. That includes Annex 3 to the amount of $85,748. So just for the, if we're just doing this for the Sheriff's Office alone, the bid opening, the amount that Top Line Installers has bid for the Sheriff's Building alone is $226,199. But we do have two bids in this package. The other is for Annex 3.
Okay.
Excuse me, the public notice states for both the Annex 3 and the Sheriff's Office to be part of it.
Yeah, that's fine. We're just not going to, maybe I screwed up when I read that amount from the, okay, all right. Okay.
All right, so this bid from Firestone Building Products is for, this bid also has both put together. This bid is $286,000.
And that's for both buildings, Annex 3 and the Sheriff's
So,
Department. So I guess, do we want to do both of these? Since they were
If that's the way it was advertised.
they were advertised
that's how
together,
we
then
need
I
to
guess
do
we
it.
do them both together, then we might as well kill two birds with one stone here today then.
Is DKG the same as Firestone?
What?
it is Firestone.
That's the same thing.
Yes. Well, so this it's interesting you asked that question because Firestone is saying they're out of Nashville, Tennessee, but DKG and Associates is out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Came in the same envelope, I don't know. I haven't opened it.
Do we need some time for administration or someone who
Yes.
knows what those are to review those?
So
before we
I
make
think
a-
that would be wise if we was to hand over these two bids to administration and the county
Well,
council.
okay, it could be, but your bid sheet, I don't know what the Firestone part of that is, but your bid sheet from DKG and Associates is that
Broke
amount,
down,
is 286,000.
right, but it's broke down, it's added both together.
Correct, yeah, that's for Annex 3, and we've discussed if we're gonna, both of these bids have Annex 3 and the Sheriff's Department in their bids, as it was advertised, as Mr. Cookie said, so I assume that if we can award both bids to whomever we feel like is the appropriate bidder. And,
So I think I think what we need to do, let's just make sure that we got apples to apples.
Okay.
And then if we get that, after you've looked it over, then we'll go ahead and make a decision.
Sounds good to me.
We're gonna probably enlist Mike Chenard's help, so.
Yeah, let Mike review it with Shaq, okay?
So then what kind of a time frame can we give the contractors then? It's gonna have to be,
Well,
when
if
is
you
this?
guys are gonna vote on it again, it'd have to be next week, if you're gonna vote on it.
I think we're gonna have to, I mean, what is the starting time frame for this? Do we have a little time? Are you,
No, we can put it off, absolutely.
okay. Well then, we hate to do this, but we're gonna let them look at it and then we'll take a vote on it, next Tuesday.
That'll be fine.
In that
Okay.
case, I'll hand this back. Okay, Mel, proceed.
What you need to know. The end of the year pretty well. I'll be sending each of you an email. We did receive a grant for a piece of equipment this summer, so,
Okay.
for our composting operations.
Oh, good.
And the engineers are working on the design of the Carver Field compost pad, and we're gonna try and do that at the same time as we do cell
Good.
floor.
Good for you.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Do you have plenty of material for the roads? I mean, I know you use a lot of the chip seal and the muddy roads. I guess we're setting good when our roads get real muddy from the adverse weather.
We have a spot, we collect a lot of demolition concrete, and if it's free of wire and rebar, we stockpile it. And if we start having bad spots, we've got quite a compactor down there that busts that up real well.
Good.
And,
Good on you.
This year hasn't been near as wet as last year, so we've had no issues.
Yeah.
Good.
How's your cell work coming? I know Rob's getting ready to grind you up a bunch of
We're just
gravel.
moving dirt. We just finally got the final subgrade cut points from the engineer about a week ago. Doug is gonna be putting those points in our handheld GPS unit. That unit gets us within 6 to 8 inches of accuracy. We'll get us close, so when we are ready to have everybody there, we can actually finish it. And
Good.
but we'll have the majority of the subgrade and all that done before we're bringing in the crews.
Good. Good deal.
I don't have anything else, Commissioner.
Saw you got passed on your rainwater, your runoff, your waterfall or whatever that was from CDPHE.
We're doing away with one of the outfalls. Why that was
outfall.
ever installed is, and Shaq can tell you, that was just stupid. The other thing, if you look on the budget, under expenses, yeah, recycle credits, the recycling market's really going downhill.
Yeah.
And they're fixing to change again. We're waiting on prices right now. Rachel, as soon as she gets them, probably sometime in the next day or two, we'll be changing our cardboard prices, and we're charging to take cardboard. That's just the fact it is. We can't move it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be composting
A lot of
a
cardboard.
lot of cardboard this summer.
Well, you know, Mel, that's taking a non-commercial item and turning it into something commercial. I mean, I think
Well, it
it's,
is,
I think
yes.
it's a smart way to go.
Well, you don't have a choice.
Don't it? Yeah.
Okay, well, looks like we're doing okay, so
far.
So far. Thank you, Mel.
You bet.
Keep it up, Mel.
That's right.
When can they deliver that loader to you? Do you know how long it'll take them to get you delivery on that since?
I'll talk to Bill as soon as I get back to the office. Probably, last time he said it's about 6 weeks.
Come on up, Larry.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, Mel.
He said about 6 weeks is what the
About
last
6
time
weeks?
he said.
Yeah. Yeah. And you should have had it a month ago, but here you are.
That's fact.
Sorry we put you late. Morning, Larry.
Morning.
How are you today?
Super fantabulous, and yourself?
I'm okay. I'm okay today.
That makes 1 out of 3, huh?
Yeah. I saw you, man, you had a lineup of commodities the other day.
Oh, man, they're
They
busy
were
over
almost
there.
out, almost to the, coming out to the gate, man. I couldn't believe the lineup you had out there.
Yeah, and if they don't start early, that's one of the things about that day has to have like nothing going on
Boy,
at the
yeah.
fairgrounds, because it blocks everything.
You're not kidding. I think we're gonna find a solution to that. We're gonna find a different place for that to happen.
I mean, most of it works. We worked around it for so long.
No,
that
you
we've-
made it work, no
so
doubt
it
about
works
it.
good. I
Larry,
mean,
but,
if it's 5
right.
years, if it's 5 weeks, if it's
Yeah, but I think I think it's time now to take a
place it works, gonna stay.
another look at that and see if there's not maybe a better avenue to do that.
Yeah. So I don't have a whole lot of nothing. I'm pretty busy. You can tell what we've had and what we've got going on. Attendance so far, 1,715 people. The income, 14,140. If you go to the spreadsheet I sent, you can see how much that 24-hour card system has brought in $2,000 just from selling that 24-hour
Oh,
card.
yeah, that's,
So that
that
helps
was
a
impressive.
bunch of people show up.
Yeah.
So we had commodities, the January 4th commodities and Saturday's commodities. They all went well. Had a team rope in. You can see Hunter Education's come back with a bang. The 11th, 12th, 9th, 10th, 16th, 15th, 16th, and the 22nd. They've all of a sudden just started to thinking that they want to teach them. So
Yeah. Who's conducting those? You know who?
the first, the 11th and 12th, the 8th, 9th, and the 22nd is Andy Spurl.
Oh yeah.
He's doing that one. The new DOW officer for Dolores, I don't remember what his name was, but he's doing the 15th and 16th.
Gotcha.
That's good. We need that service here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of, the first, this, if I remember right, the 15th and 16th, filled up in 3 hours. Wow. Of the kids, so, yeah, they need it. Down to, so we have the 4 States Junior Rodeo, the 22nd and 23rd of February. That'll be their last one of the year. And then we have a youth group, camp roping, put on by Kyle Polich, the 29th and the 1st of March. And then I have the remodel dates. I talked to Mr. Candelaria yesterday, and so as far as the dates that we've chose, and see if they all work for you guys, is to start on the 18th of May. Then the only thing I have that conflicts with that is, let's see, what did I have? So I have a barrel race on the 21st of June. She said the only issue she might have is the kitchen. I offered her a little rebate on the rental of the arena if she can get somebody to come in and not use our kitchen.
Somebody cater it.
Yep,
get
and be
somebody
done
to
with
cater
it.
for
So I threw she said it's gonna cost her about $100. I said, well, maybe we can knock $100 off of
Yeah, let's try to
your day
accommodate them.
Sure.
to make it better for her.
Sure.
So she was happy with that.
Yeah.
Nobody else should bother anything. We're gonna have porta-johns anyways out there, so we should be good to go. And that will give us until the
County Fair.
Yeah. According to Jim, we talked about opening the bids on the 24th and then finishing July 3rd. That gives us 2 weeks if something goes long in the process, and then a week or whatever of making sure everything works before the fair.
Okay. Sounds good.
So you have the bid opening for February 24th?
Has the bid opening, has a walkthrough the 9th, and then open bid on the 24th.
Of this month?
No, of April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then he has a notice to proceed on the 30th, is what he was saying.
So why do we need to wait that long to do the bid?
I don't know. Well, he's still going through, he had a meeting yesterday with Janine to still pick and choose what what we're doing in the kitchen, remodel part of it, the whole cabinets.
We would like to be in that conversation as well. I thought he was going to bring it to us.
But I'm kind of like you, Commissioner. I'm not sure why we're pushing this thing so far out into the springtime, and then, I mean, why?
You mean to do the work?
Well, I understand why we're doing the work, but I think that the sooner that we get the bid out, then, if I own a construction company, I'm trying to set a year.
Exactly,
so the sooner I know that I got the bid, then I can change.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, he has a walkthrough on the 9th. I'm not sure what, but that's what they called me yesterday, and that's the numbers he threw at me for.
Okay,
we'll talk with him, see if,
He chose red and white for the doors. I told him if anybody yells at me, I'm gonna point to him.
So again, those decisions will be made by all three commissioners, not just one commissioner. So we will be definitely having a conversation.
I told him, I said, if anybody yells at me, I'm gonna, it's all his color. So I'm with you.
The way it works is one commissioner has no authority whatsoever.
No, it's
two commissioners have all the authority.
You can make those decisions by email if you want.
Yeah. And yesterday we had the steer weigh-in.
Oh, wow, already doing that, huh?
Tagging.
Tagging, okay.
And just heads up, at 70.
70?
70 bovine. I don't know if that means steers and heifers or just steers, but there's 70 of them across that scale on Sunday. And I think they said 40-something can fit in that barn.
Oh, so we're 30.
Well, you got some extra stalls. You got some stalls you're going to have to put to work out there, Larry.
So there's a whole bunch of them out there fixing to look for a spot for.
Well, I mean that's
a bunch.
That's really good news.
I don't remember how many came last year, but they said they're talking about how they're going to get it all.
Yeah. Well, that'll be for them to figure out, man.
Was it 49 market steers and 11 breeding heifers?
Oh yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Good job, Joe.
Yeah, Joel was there. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good.
All right. Anything else?
Good. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. County Attorney report.
A few things. If you recall, we had a former employee, Ms. Garbisi, who filed suit against us. Their attorney served interrogatories, which are just a bunch of questions for our health department to answer. So those were just served on us. I found out about them yesterday because they actually served them on our insurance company. I think January 28th is when they were served. We have, I think that's really it legally wise as far as proceedings that are ongoing. I'm meeting with Bill Tietzel about the N.M.P.M, perhaps today, but probably this week sometime. I know that, well, I shouldn't say I know, but I think somebody told me that there's a meeting with Mr. Candelaria and perhaps him and some other people later this week or next week.
I think it's this week, isn't it?
What's that?
The meeting that Jim was going to meet with Bill Tietzel, or the
down the M&M?
I think it's Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Friday, I think that's right,
So I'm probably going to meet with him before that to see what kind of input he has, what kind of insight he has on the M&M. I'm also meeting with Spark Reed from the Four Corners Ag Expo today, this afternoon, to talk about some concerns he had with, I think, their board
Hmm.
internally. I think that's it. We've already discussed everything else.
All right, anything else additional? Commissioner Tell?
Not from me, other than the only thing I think I had going this past week was our meeting with Empire Electric, and that was kind of hit and miss, but still got some potential there. I think we'll get some things worked out.
On the natural resources, James is absent.
He's with Commissioner Candelaria at the
Federal
TPR
Lands
meeting.
Access meeting, yeah.
I will give an update on something that James has been working on. So Montezuma County has partnered with Alamosa County to propose a resolution in Washington, D.C. on the 1st of March. And what it pertains to is the getting the racks back in place, which is the racks are for the BLM. And what the racks are is they are a diverse group of people coming from different backgrounds in support on making decisions on BLM lands. So we sent that back last week, and we were asked by, we don't actually do this in Colorado, but I guess they do in other states, but we were asked by some other states if Montezuma County and Alamosa County would be willing to add, it has a different name, but it's the same kind of assistant, but they're an advisory board for forest services in different states. And so we went ahead and let them back in Washington, D.C. reword the resolution that James had built. And so Commissioner Allen and myself will present this to NACO on March 1st, and there'll be a vote in public lands, and hopefully it will pass. One thing that is really neat about these resolutions, and it happened to be one that I did 2 years ago with Rio Blanco, Montezuma County happened to do this with Rio Blanco, and it was on the electronic logging devices and livestock. And what brought the attention to that is this electronic logging device is they have to run for, I can't remember if it's 8 or 10 hours, but then they have to downtime for 8 hours before they can continue on with their load. Well, this is the great scenario, and it came actually out of Rio Blanco. Usually the people that buy the lambs, the sheep, they go to California to be processed. And so you load the sheep in Meeker, Colorado, and then you make it to Yuma, Colorado, and it's 100 degrees. Well, the truck shuts off. You have 400 lambs on the truck, and when the truck driver wakes up the next morning, all of the sheep are dead because they can't handle. What a inhumane law that was. And so it made it to the omnibus bill. Our resolution made it to the omnibus bill last year, and it exempt agriculture from the electronic logging device. What's also is ironic is now that we have some information about electronic logging devices, since that law has been in effect for a year, is it's actually killing more people than it helps. And the reason is if you take a load of hay, say, just any kind of product you want, and you need to get it to LA from Cortez, Colorado, you're going to speed so that you make it within that time frame before your logging device shuts your semi off. And so what it has created is it's created some lawbreakers because they realize. And then the other thing that it is and you should know, people are noticing this, is you're driving down free highways is if you're driving late at night, early morning, you're finding semis parked in very unusual places that you've never seen them parked before. Yeah. And that is because of this time frame of when the electronic logging device. So long story short, hopefully we'll get the BLM racks back in place, and we'll give you an update on that around March 6th when we come back.
Are you also asking for Forest Service racks in the same?
We are. We added that so that we could, at the request of the other states, Washington State, some of the other states that have that same process. we think that it will be an easy pass, but there's always, I guess I say easy, there's always somebody that is against whatever you're proposing back there. So we'll see. It's a vote. It's a vote of 400 people, so we'll see how it goes. And that's all I got. Something I think James has been working on. Now we go to the very lengthy speaker, Shaq Powers, the county administrator. Go ahead.
Yeah. First, I just got an update from the 4-H department that there were 49 steers weighed in last year or tagged in. So we're up quite a bit. So just to follow up on Larry's report on how that's going. Last week, when I was interrupted to bring Joyce out here, I neglected to get signed the contract for Leslie Bugg for Colorado Parks and Wildlife. So I went to Commissioner Sukla that evening at the city council meeting that I had public notice they would attend, and got his signature there. John, I don't know if we need to have an official motion on this before it gets sent off, or
We probably ought to. Let's do it.
Okay. I would like to move that the Montezuma County, is this through the assessor's office?
Correct.
Montezuma County Assessor, through the Impact Assistance Grant, be approved and applied for through the Colorado Division of Parks and Wildlife for tax year 2019.
I'm having second thoughts.
Okay, all right. We'll send it back. It died for lack of a second.
Second.
Second thoughts is still a second.
Motion is second to approve the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Impact Assistance Grant application for the year 2019, actually for the year 2020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Proceed, County Administrator.
All right, next, we have an invitation from the city manager, John Doherty, inviting us for the past several weeks. We, in that case being them, the city, have been trying to coordinate a meeting with Southwest Health Alliance Peak about saving money on health codes. The mayor and I met with them a while back and thought it would be a good idea to get Southwest Memorial in the room, along with other large employers and local governments. This meeting is now set for Monday, February 10th from 10 to 12 in the training room at City Hall in Cortez. Please RSVP as soon as possible so we can plan the room setup accordingly. So I want to know if the commissioners will be going, or if some of the commissioners will be going, so I can RSVP and, if needed, public notice that.
I am planning on going, yes.
Okay.
Yes, what this is we've already been speaking about this, but this has the possibility of saving all of our constituents in Montezuma County 25% on their health insurance a year. It's a very big deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will public notice that. Next, CCI reached out to us last evening, and they asked for letters of support on House Bill 20-1133, which would set up guidelines for when municipalities de-annex a piece of property back into the county. And included in those guidelines would be 90 days for the county to rezone or zone how they feel that land should be zoned. And since I didn't have a chance to converse with you guys before this, I sent it last night during our board-to-board with Empire. I went ahead and got the letters of support ready, one for Commissioner Coram and one for Representative Caitlin. But I'll let you guys discuss whether you want to sign those or not.
This was a discussion. This is actually an issue that happened in Jefferson County up by Denver, where the city had a property zoned, I believe it's a defunct subdivision, and then is trying to, what was the wording that you used where it's given back to the
De-annex.
De-annex. And was a great liability, a very expensive liability to the, to Jefferson County. And so what this does is it takes away that liability by giving the county the authority to rezone. So I think that, I think it's a well worth bill, and we should support it.
Okay, I'm good with that. We have very little experience. We had the city of Cortez de-annex part of that road on the extension street of 7th Street, which was very beneficial to us. We didn't have to do any rezoning of it, but we have had a little bit of experience of somebody de-annexing property to us from the city. So
we basically avoided the de-annex procedure by just having them sell it to us.
Sell it to us. Is that what it was for $1, the dollar sale? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it works both ways. It would be something.
Yeah, and I think this was recommended and highly recommended by CCI, that most.
Yeah, it was voted on last week up there in Denver, and the vote was to proceed.
Okay, I would then make a motion to send a letter of support to Senator Don Coram as well as Representative Mark Catlin, stating our support of House Bill 20-1133, land use entitlements and municipal disconnection.
Motion is second to send a letter of support to CCI. They're going to be talking about it. I think they're talking about it today. House Bill 20-1133, a bill on land use entitlements and multi-municipal disconnect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And I gave you 2 copies of each because I need to scan those and email those back as soon as we're done.
Okay.
All right. What else do you have, Shaq?
So next, I have a public notice. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will be meeting with Leadership Montezuma to discuss the function of local government on Thursday, February 20th, from 1:15 to 3:30, and that'll be here in the Commissioners' hearing room. Montezuma Leadership Montezuma, has asked to have a day with the Commissioners during their local government day, and so the Commissioners will be participating in that. Another public notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners may attend a planning commission meeting regarding drought management for the town of Mancos. This was the invitation sent by Heather Alvarez that we addressed last week. That meeting will be held February 19th at 7:00 p.m. at Mancos Town Hall. And then a third public notice. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will participate in a town hall style meeting at the Mancos Town Hall February 20th at 6:30 p.m. So that'll be the town hall meeting with Mancos this year. So those 3 meetings are upcoming. If the public wants to attend, they're certainly welcome. And we probably need to begin advertising the town hall meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I think that's it for me. If not,
Wow.
I'll catch it up next week.
Amazing. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Look forward to the motion then.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
Second. There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks, for coming.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Would you send me a calendar event for that Monday meeting, Jack?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
And there is a meeting at 6:30 in Dolores on the wildlife management tonight as well. at the community center.
Hi, my mic's on, just so you know. Do you want me to turn it off?
Yes, thank you. Hey, thanks for coming.